Welcome to Smash Grill in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, Arizona's premier burger joint, at least of the ones I tried, which was just this one. So a couple of weeks ago, my family and I were in Arizona for a couple of weddings, and we decided that we'd check out the kosher scene there because Austin doesn't really have one to talk about at all, but more about that in a future video. So I looked at a couple of places, and this one stood out to me. The menu has a bunch of different types of burgers. The Hangover Burger has crispy beef bacon and a fried egg. The Glizzy has hot dogs and a fried egg. And you can also get a fried egg on the Impossible Burger. But I wouldn't bother going to a kosher restaurant for an Impossible Burger because, I can actually eat meat here. Anyway, burgers aren't their only offerings. They also had salads, sandwiches, and some pretty darn good looking appetizers. Now the interior of the place is pretty small, definitely like a strip mall joint. But the decorations they had gave the place some personality, especially the neon sign of a burger that was getting abducted by a UFO, because it made me nostalgic for when I was abducted by a UFO. 15 minutes after placing our order, we had our food. So I went with the Southern Sizzle Burger, which has barbecue brisket and coleslaw, and my wife had the Brooklyn, which has pastrami and fried crispy onions. So here's the breakdown. My burger was pretty good. I realized shortly after taking a bite of it that I had played myself because, in your head, when you live in Texas, you think barbecue brisket and you think some like melty piece of thick slice of brisket that just tastes very smoky. But then you remember you're at a kosher restaurant in Arizona where their version of brisket is a boiled brisket with some barbecue sauce on it. And it was good, it was tender, it wasn't dry, but it wasn't exactly what you want when you're thinking barbecue brisket. Kind of made me wish I'd ordered one of the burgers with bacon on it. Now my wife's burger, the Brooklyn, had some more flavor. The crispy onions added a nice crunch and oniony-ness. And the house sauce, which was probably just like every other house sauce at a burger joint of like Thousand Island dressing, added a nice tanginess and moisture. Moist. Now my kids, as all kids do, had to pay the Abba tax, so I ate some of their chicken strips. They were fine. The breading was actually just like a light dusting of cornstarch, which had nice spices, but really left you wanting something more crispy. Even some breadcrumbs would have been nice. And the fries, which came with every plate, were fine. Some of them were soggy, some were crispy, but they all tasted good. They probably all could use a second bath in the deep fryer. And now what you all came for watching this first video on my channel, a review of the ranch dressing from a real ranch dressing connoisseur. The mouthfeel was good. Not too thick, not too watery, just a nice dipability, which would coat your fry and envelop it with a tangy flavor. The flavor profile was quite dill forward, which is neither here nor there, but if it be your preference not to have dill, I might consider avoiding this ranch dressing, though it wasn't overpowering. I do say that I will give this ranch dressing a 7.5 out of 10. Now, I want to say one more thing about the burgers. I get that kosher restaurants have very thin margins, and in order to compete with non-kosher places, they have to cut corners here and there. But I was a little disappointed by a small 6-ounce burger for $20+. Like, it wasn't slider size, but it also wasn't big. I feel like they could have sprung for the extra 2 ounces to go for a half-pound burger. I feel like the issue could have been solved by just using a full-size bun and smashing the patty, as you might expect to get from a place called Smash Grill, because at least then I could fill up on bread or something. After the burgers, we got a few milkshakes. That's right, real milkshakes right after meat burgers. And by real milkshakes, I mean fake milkshakes. They tasted a little bit fake. I mean, I guess when you're using alternative milks to make your ice cream and your milkshakes, they're gonna taste like they're made with alternative ice cream and alternative milk. But that being said, they were really good and they were quite satisfying to have after eating the burgers. I will say they were a little bit more liquidy than you might want. I got an Oreo, my wife got the Java chip, which had lots of Java chips in it, and my kids split a strawberry. And they were all quite good. It may sound like I've been complaining a lot in this video, but that's really honestly not my intent. I'm just Jewish, so I can't help it. I mean, I want to try to be as honest as possible while still remembering this is a real restaurant run by real people. And it's important that we have more kosher restaurants in the world to encourage more Jews to keep kosher by just making it easier to access. So if you're in the mood for a good burger, try Smash Grill. You won't regret it. Unless you order the Southern Sizzle and you're expecting there to be real smoked brisket on there. Oh, right, my final verdict. So it was definitely the best kosher restaurant that I ate at in all of Arizona. Though, if I ever get a second one, I might have to reevaluate that.